was a dark and stormy night, nor'easter rolling in. It's a long 12 hours, the power's out again. I pray for inner strength and that we don't lose no lives. Just another day in the first responders' eyes. Half a cup of coffee's gone, the first run comes in. A car slid off the road, there's a family trapped within. My heart beats like a hammer, I can barely catch my breath. I'm thinking the worst and hoping for the best. Yeah, we ain't superheroes, we're just ordinary people trying to make a difference, and the first on every scene. It's a heavy, heavy burden to carry all this burden when you can't unsee the things you've seen. It keeps going on. When those sirens are gone. Now my shift is finally over, I gotta deal with what's mine and try to find a way to leave those tragedies behind. So I hug my 2 children, I kiss on my wife. Just another day, the first responder's life. Yeah, we ain't superheroes, we're just ordinary people trying to make a difference, and the first on every scene. It's a heavy, heavy burden to carry all this burden when you can't unsee the things you've seen. It keeps going on. When those sirens are gone. Flashing lights fill the air, broken bodies everywhere. Another bad dream is stealing my sleep. 'Cause we ain't superheroes, we're just ordinary people trying to make a difference, and the first on every scene. And it's a heavy, heavy burden to carry all this hurting when you can't unsee the things you've seen. It keeps going on. When those sirens are gone, it keeps going on. When those sirens are gone.
Hey, welcome to 99. I can't see a thing. We're in a black screen here. Sam? Ah, there we go. I was in a black screen.
You had to wait till the song ended.
No, but for some reason I was getting this message saying that the MP4 that was playing was unsupported by my computer. And I'm like, well, why is it unsupported? So I don't know. It just went unsupported.
Well, everybody's supported here at Mad Radio. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome to the award-winning Mad Radio Show, your first responder network in healing our heroes. John and Sam, we are dedicated into breaking the stigma, smashing the stigma, whatever you want to talk about, however you want to say it. But we want to promote good mental health throughout our nation's law enforcement and first responders. Hey, Sam, how you doing today?
I am doing great. Hey, I wanted to just take a moment and for those of you that don't know, just condolences, John, to you on the loss of your friend that you worked for a long time for a long time in NYPD. The 9/11 list gets longer and longer. And,
well, with that being said, Sam, if you don't mind, I'd like to dedicate today's show to Detective Tony Gray from the 7-7 precinct, 7-9. He was in a 7-7 precinct in Brooklyn, 7-9 precinct. He worked in the 7-5 homicide division. He left there and went to Austin Explosion out of Manhattan. When he finally retired, he ended up being a canine officer with the Florida Fire Marshal's Division. About 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with 9/11 cancer. I spoke with Tony about a month ago, and he was in good spirits. He knew the battle was almost over, but he was still good. He still never regretted a day that that ended up ending his life so early. He was a trooper, a battler, and God bless him. And, God bless all our first responders who are battling every day from cancers and medical conditions due to that tragic and terroristic day on 9/11.
Yeah, it's the 20th year. So people forget that it's not just the almost 3,000 that we lost that day, that this is something that has continued because of what we were all exposed to. And I say we all, because if you're new to the show, just joining us, I was there, John was there. We were there in the aftermath. We were there with all the stuff floating through the air because they said it was okay.
They said it was okay.
Yeah. And so great dedication. And like I said, our hearts go out to you and his family for sure.
Thank you.
So, there's support needed on so many fronts when it comes to our law enforcement and first responders out there. We do this every week, kind of decompress, compartmentalize, introduce new, and go over existing partners that we work with and organizations that are out there that continue to assist our first responders, to fight for our first responders and our law enforcement officers. And boy, do we have a great show today.
I was thinking about what you just brought up. If it wasn't for all these wonderful organizations out there, the ones that are really stepping up to help our first responders, where would they be today? Because, it doesn't seem like, and I don't want to call any departments out. Well, I will. New York, for instance, that are really falling behind the 8 ball in the mental health capacity and the mental health programs that they have to offer. They're relying on all these outside organizations, and thank God for them, because if it wasn't for these organizations, our officers would be in a lot more trouble. Yeah. And I think we have one of those organizations on today, which has helped thousands upon thousands of first responders and military veterans in the mental health areas.
We do, and many of you know about 22 Kill. I have known and done a lot of activities with the organization, and they have been instrumental in really reshaping and bringing awareness to the mental strain, the stress, the traumas that first responders, that our law enforcement folks go through every day. And they really took it upon themselves. So they went from veterans to opening their doors to first responders. And yesterday, there were banners flying, there were flags flying, there was parties happening, because it is so awesome what they've done, which was put 22 Kill and all of their, call it, treatment programs. Yep, under the One Tribe Foundation. And it is so awesome to have Dan Lombardo here with us, guys, on the show. How are you, Dan? Great to see you.
Good to see you guys as usual.
Well, tell us about the parties, man, because this is huge news. If you are in Dallas and you have not seen the headlines, you are living under a rock somewhere.
Yes, we made a lot of networks, a lot of TV shows, a lot of radio, but just to come from the beginning is when we created 22 Kill, it was because we lose 22 veterans a day by suicide, and we were trying to combat that and create awareness and education, and it grew into us providing services. And then from then, we outgrew the the actual 22 kill brand. It didn't make any sense anymore for us to run underneath that brand because we expanded our services into first responders and their families and front end healthcare workers as well. So 22 kills not going away. I know that I've gotten a lot of calls and a lot of texts. It will stay as a program below One Tribe Foundation, and what we'll do there is it'll stay the education awareness program that it was created. Everybody likes the brand, especially our veteran side of it. I'm an Air Force veteran, and it's just part of my life is that brand, of course, for being part of the organization for 7 years. But in that, we just kind of outgrew what that brand represented, which really started as just being just veterans. So the One Tribe Foundation, which we call the Human Tribe, is the human aspect being across the whole board with all of our warriors. So it's a great thing. It's amazing step for us and the growth. But at the end of the day, the battle still has to move forward. There's tons and tons of people that now through COVID, you guys know it, and through what officers are going through right now, it's increased 30% for just officers alone. So there's a lot of work to be done. At the end of the day, when we looked at what our totals were, which is the highest totals we've ever had in 2020, made appointments. Now I'm counting telehealth, over the phone appointments we do, and everything was over 9,000. So that's a lot of made appointments. The sad part about it is that they're not going down, they're going up. This is a human issue, straight across the board, which is depression and anxiety. It's just we all need to respond to the heroes, the people that are taking care of us, and start reaching out to them, because the stress, and as you guys know, is highest in those jobs and those positions. And right now, you don't see a whole lot of people standing in the line to be a police officer right now because of the stress that that we've created for these officers. So a lot of great things going on. It was an amazing day yesterday. You said, Sam, it felt like it was already 3 days ago, because it's been something that's taken forever to get to this launch, and it's gotten out a little bit to different people, and then the only confusion of the launch was that 22 kill was going away, and it won't. It'll always be part of our brand. It's just everything will be underneath that One Tribe Foundation, the Human Tribe banner that we have now.
Let me ask something, Dan. With 22 kill going in as programming, because I know this means a lot to a lot of people. It means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Sam. Is the ring, right? The 22 push-ups that started 22 kill and launched it to such a wonderful, huge organization, right? When I walk into any restaurant, or if I walk around, or if I'm talking to somebody, I see this ring, there's an immediate connection. There's an immediate bond right there. This ring has symbolized so much for so many. The 22 kill push-up challenge, will that still be in effect? Were we taking that away? How do they get their rings now?
So they get the rings the same way, because 22 kill is the awareness and education side. That's the side that you'll run into a lot to bring out that information that we still have. And we're still losing 22 veterans a day. Actually, it's more than that, because a lot of states don't report their totals. And at the end of the day, if a veteran takes every drug he has in his medicine cabinet, unless he leaves a note, it's an accidental death. And so there's a ton of those. So at the end of the day, it's not zero, right? So we're going to keep pressing ahead. Everybody still recognizes our brand. So One Tribe will still be the ring, right? It's just the way you get your ring will be through that 22 kill side. We still want you to do your push-ups, but now you're doing your push-ups not just for veterans. You're doing your push-ups for first responders, all the warriors across the board. So we're still pushing forward, so everything's going to stay the same on that. We're still going to offer 22 kill brand stuff. There'll be One Tribe, and then there'll be a mixture of, you'll see the gas mask with the One Tribe Foundation. So it's just exciting, because to keep up that percentages that we have in the 990s, to protect, to show the percentages that we have that are so good on our return, the merchandise is what covers overhead, right? And people don't realize we offer 6 visits at no cost at no cost to a warrior and this family, we cover that cost. So when we ask you to go and buy a shirt or buy a ring, you're covering those incidental costs that we're having to cover. So that's why it's so important, because as I tell everybody, we have an overhead that's almost $1 million with counselors and doctors on staff. So that's something that never goes away for me. It has to be covered.
That's pricey.
Yeah, so we go for grants, and we've won a lot of grants and a lot of great things, but to keep up with the growth that we have and what we're seeing in the first responder and the veteran industry, it's not going away, right? It's increasing, and I think really the misconception of it is not that there's new problems being created. I think now has been the best time ever. People understand maybe it's okay not to be okay, and I can ask for help. So I think the real spike is that we as a nation with people like you two are pushing this out. And like the next guest we're going to have on, David, people like him that are stepping out and saying to his department, to people around him, to his town and his community, hey, listen, I had these issues, but I wanted help. I reached my hand, but I want to educate you guys and have it be a part of me. So it's an amazing story that he'll tell you as he brought the community in on this mission. But like I said, is we need more programs like this. And if you're listening out there, please back these programs. Please help them, because this is the only way sometimes the truth and the good hardcore information gets out to our warriors, is programs like this.
Well, thanks, Dan. We appreciate that. And, we have been privileged, John and I both, to have your staff come out there from Stay the Course. We had Chris and his service dog. And we talked to Tempa, and the work that you all do with our law enforcement, with our first responders, it's deep. I mean, like you said, the cost, it's 6 free sessions to the first responder and their family, but it goes deeper than that, because we all know that anybody can say, hey, we offer assistance for our first responders. They're seeing a lot of trauma every day, and everybody seems to be hanging out a shingle. But through John, John and I have always been the kind of people that vet, number one, and we've known you guys. I can't believe I've known you guys for more than 10 years now. And I didn't move here until 8 years ago. So it was before I even got here. And you said a really important thing just now, and we're going to bring David on, is that it's about the first responders realizing that it's okay not to be okay. Digging deep, having that courage to reach out and ask for help, because we're not trained to do that. We're the fixers, we're the helpers. And then he took it back to his department, to his community, because that's really what it's all about. It's like, let's get you settled. Let's address what's going on. And then let's spread the message. And because folks are taking it back to their departments, we know that what you're doing is having a gigantic impact.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Oh, didn't mean to cut you. I thought you were done,
Yeah.
Which was the first time ever I'm seeing different departments, and like I will praise Fort Worth as one of them, that officers who've gone through our program, they've gone back to their leadership and said, can I go talk to all the new recruits and tell them, here's a senior person standing in front of them, and tell them, hey, I asked for help. So we want to let you know, you're just now starting, that this department is good with you asking for help when you need it. So it's an amazing step that some of these departments have done. Some of them haven't yet, but that's what we need to get to is, and you guys know it is if that stigma gets removed, that I'm not going to get fired, or I'm not going to not get promoted. If we got to get these things out of the way.
Yeah.
And I think, John, you brought it up, didn't you, that one time that you have to requalify your gun? Why aren't we requalifying you being, checking your mental wellness, right?
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing that?
I just did an article for Blues Magazine on the trauma oil change and when the music stops. So that's going to be coming out in July. But yeah, we need an oil change. When we look at ourselves, we do basic maintenance on our cars. We'll bring our car into Jiffy Lube and get a 30-minute oil change, and we're out the door, and we feel good about it. Sometimes we have to fix the squeaky brakes. Sometimes we have to lube the end, lube the chassis, an alignment. It may take a little bit longer, and that's how we have to treat our bodies. Sometimes we can go in for 30 minutes and talk to somebody and feel good about ourselves. But sometimes we need those 6 sessions. Sometimes we need a little bit more. And we have to make sure that our officers out there know that it's okay to take 12 sessions, to take 30 sessions, whatever you need to get mentally healthy, to get back on a job. And if we make that a norm, if we start promoting that as the normal procedure in policing, right, we'll have a lot more mentally healthy officers out there. I spoke with an officer today from San Francisco Bay Area, and he just retired, and we were discussing this exact topic. And I said, well, how are your commanders in San Francisco responsive to the mental health program? And he said, they're not. And this is San Francisco. They're not. You got to keep that on the down low. They don't want to shake the tree too much in San Francisco because of the political fallout that may happen. So we're scratching the surface. You guys, everybody's scratching the surface. We're digging in, but we still have a long road ahead of us because we have so many departments that are still old school that really need to be educated.
Agreed.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to bring David on here. I'm going to add him right now. Hey, David, welcome on radio. Talking about taking it back to departments and letting them know what's out there and how they can actually help the department. David, please go ahead and introduce yourself and, let us know why you reached out to One Tribe Foundation.
Well, my name is David Martinez. I work at a little department here in Middle Tennessee. I reached out to One Tribe Foundation probably 2016 timeframe after some emotional issues I was having. Unfortunately, I almost became one of those statistics when I was in the military. And through One Tribe Foundation, some of their resources and some of the things that I've learned through them, I was actually able to save myself. So then start putting some of that research that they do back into other people, into the community, and back into people around me.
That's fantastic. And how easy was it to get in touch with One Tribe and get the help you needed?
It was really easy. I'll be honest. I started out, I bought a ring first, and then I bought a T-shirt. And then after I bought those things and kind of felt like I was representing the group, I started noticing people doing push-ups. And then some of the senior leadership I had at the time actually started pushing me towards Military One Source and getting some counseling done through them. And basically same thing that 22 Kill and One Tribe Foundation does is just I had 10 free sessions. I went and talked to them, and they didn't go back to my command or anything. It was just, they were closed doors, and I was able to learn some new coping mechanisms and things of that such. And then I started making my own little walks and marches, if you want to call them that, in honor of One Tribe Foundation.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to boast on this guy real quick.
Okay.
Very little events, I'm going to tell you, that start off, the onesie twosie things usually are small. They usually don't raise very much money, and that's fine. We're trying to get the awareness out there. But this guy, you should see, I'll send you the pictures. Amazing how many people, and he raised $5,600. Wow. So, yeah, so when I talked to him, the great thing is this March, and David, you can tell him now he's created his own name. He's got his own little March name, and it's amazing the community and support he has created in his area. David, why don't you talk about the name of your March now and where it's headed?
So we changed our name. We were just basically, we called ourselves a 22 Kill Annual Memorial of Dixon Walsh, benefiting 22 Kill. And with the new One Tribe, One Foundation taking over the main umbrella of their company, we changed ours to Save Me, Save One. basically I saved myself, and then now we're going to save one more. That's our goals. At the end of the day, if we're able to reach out and stop one more person from taking that 10,000 mile sniper shot, some people call it, or taking all their pills or whatever the case may be, we're accomplishing our goal. So we're the Save Me, Save One, Dixon, Tennessee March.
That's it. That's awesome. Congratulations for that. You know, I want to go back to something that you said, David, that your command was kind of helping you along the way to get you some assistance. With our law enforcement community, we're seeing cumulative trauma. Did yours come from your years of service?
Yes, ma'am. My help came from the years of service, but I kind of got out at that transition where the military was starting to recognize there was a whole bunch of mental health issues, and they started pushing the mental health awareness a lot more. I got out in 2017. I was fortunate enough to only spend a month unemployed, and then I came straight into law enforcement community. The department I work at now, they're very big on mental health and making sure people get the help they need and things like that. They actually sent myself, the assistant chief, and our training lieutenant to a peer support counselor class taught by Metro Davidson Nashville, and basically they're going out and teaching people how to become peer support counselors, how to recognize the signs, and it's from every level, from the FTO to the chief to a slick sleep patrol officers were in there. So every peer group had somebody that they could reach out and talk to them, recognize those signs of trauma, and pull them aside and say, hey, do you need to talk to somebody? We're not as big. My department is not as big as some of the other departments, but Metro Davidson pushed out their policies and procedures for their whole mental health program to any department that asked. In the class that I was in, there was roughly 10, 11 different departments in there. They're all Middle Tennessee that are now starting to adopt that same policy Metro's got. Metro, they, much like One Tribe Foundation has, they have counselors and stuff that are on roll call with them, and clinicians that their officers can go see anytime they need to see them, no questions asked, and there's no penalties for them seeing them, nothing, no negative remarks, and they're even going so far as to try and put legislation on the Supreme Court's desk here in Tennessee to make it so that those appointments and stuff, nobody can be compelled to come out in court or compelled to come out and say anything about what those officers are talking about. So they're actually trying to protect the officers all the way down to an individual standpoint in our area.
That's fantastic.
Let me just, tell me if I'm wrong, Sam, because what I'm seeing here, and David, you brought up a great point with you were able to speak with your assistant chief, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm seeing in a lot of the smaller departments where the chiefs, assistant chiefs are approachable by the officers in the field, that these programs are starting to work. They're starting to take shape within their commands. In New York, and I'm just throwing out New York because that's my old department, chiefs are unapproachable, right, by regular foot cops. You very rarely see a chief there at 1 PP, and they're not listening to the foot cops. They're not listening to the guys on patrol. We see the smaller departments being able to communicate with the upper command staff and bring the ideas to the upper command staff who are in the power to make these changes. When we look at big departments like New York and California and Chicago and the bigger cities, these cops out on the street do not have that opportunity to speak with their command staff. The highest rank they usually see is maybe as a captain or a lieutenant, in the precinct or their own command. They never get to speak with those upper command chiefs who have the ability to change the perception and put this stuff really into play. So, what you brought up is now I'm starting to see a lot of the smaller departments. That's why they're getting on board with the mental health programs, and the bigger departments aren't.
So I think one of the reasons I think that works is a lot of these small departments hire the lieutenant, hire the guy that retired, right? That I've seen, and that person more than anyone saw what didn't work. So a lot of the small departments that we're affiliated with, when I asked them, why are you so pro mental health? He says, well, I wasn't at the top. I was more in the field with the guys. So the men and women that I served with, so I saw what was a need and wasn't working. So that's the thing that I have seen and heard from them as well, is that But you're right. There's departments, that I won't talk about that you never see the chief unless it's a big event and there's a TV camera. And, it's very little, like I said, is why I'm so shocked with Fort Worth. I mean, from all the way down from Ed to Chief Noakes, the new chief, very approachable, very get in a field type guy, thanking everybody when he's walking around. It just, you don't see many apartments. We got, amazing guys like Tracy Aaron and Mansfield, and we got Billy Cordell and Burles, and there's just more I can keep saying that are guys that are approachable. That, man, the first thing they want to do is thank their officers. But you're right, John. You look at these other big ones.
Well, you look at even the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. You got Chief Wayburn in there, who takes 150% dedication into to every one of his officers. If one of his officers is out sick, Wayburn's on the phone. He is the chief. He's on the phone asking, "Hey, are you okay? Is there anything our department can do?" He takes initiative in his officers, and I think that's why, like, the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office in Fort Worth are so receptive to these plans, because they have leadership who cares. They have leadership getting involved.
The other thing is interesting that Fort Worth is starting to branch out. As you guys know, Manny, who's the president of the Police Officers Association, people don't realize in Fort Worth, the POA covers their visits for their officers and family. That was unheard of, right? And Manny's trying to go out now and talk to the other POA presidents and say, as I said, that we do the 6 free visits, or I say 6 visits at no cost to them. But there's a lot of officers and veterans who can't afford it. We don't turn anybody away. So really, when you look at the average, we're providing more than 6 visits at no cost, because if they come in and say, I can't afford it, we're not turning you away. So that's what the POA in Fort Worth recognizes. Hey, man, this shouldn't be y'all's burden, to carry this. We'll jump in the middle of it, and we'll be a partner with you guys. And it's amazing. And like you said, Wayburn's the same way. The grand opening we had yesterday, he wanted so bad I invited him to be a speaker, but he had already an event. And you could tell he was really upset, because if you see Bill around, he's wearing his 22 kill ring, the One Tribe Foundation. He's very proud of it, and really opens up to his officers to seek that therapy. But what a great partnership with some departments we have, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And David and Dan, just want to let you know, we have a comment stream, guys. If you have questions or want to brag, send some love over to these guys. I'm telling you, we got Megan and James, who, David, I think because he's calling you Tinez, however you pronounce it, and Tara and Maria. So they're everybody's showing you guys some love. David, how hard was it? You're not from a department in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. For you personally, coming into One Tribe Foundation, how hard was it for you to just open up, since you're kind of, I'll say, so far from home, but not at home.
When I first moved here in 2017, I kind of kept to myself, and then I started working at the department. I'm goofy all the time, so I come to the door just having my own personality, and then I very quickly noticed that our administration here, I work second shift, so it's not uncommon for us to come in and have our chief, assistant chief, or lieutenant sitting at the table with all the patrol officers between first shift and second shift, and coking and joking, and I think that's kind of like their inadvertent way to check on everybody. From day one, it was made known that there's an open door policy. My big reaching out to One Tribe Foundation to try and make it what it is today really didn't start until about 2019. Our department hired another veteran who also went through some emotional issues and stuff, and as I was training him, we started bouncing ideas off each other about, hey, I see you did this walk last year. I saw this pop up on your time hop or timeline on Facebook and stuff. And we just kind of made it a thing to where instead of me walking by myself, we'd pull 10, 15 guys to come walk with us. And then it's just gotten bigger every year, to the point that this year, like the last 3 years, we've had support of the local police department for the county I live in to give us blue lights for awareness, so we didn't get ran over and things like that. So from the jump, that chief went, and the patrol captain at the time was on board with it. I talked to my chief and things about it. And this past year, granted, we do our walk in a city that's not in the city that I work in, but my chief was very receptive of it, and he helped me pull my permits. He helped sit me down and make the calls that needed to be made to get everything done that needed to get done so we could do it legally. And then the local city that I live in, their chief actually did a full corporate sponsorship for our event. He donated $250 of their charities monies to us. He gave us 2 patrol officers. Every step of the way, I was in contact with him if I had ran into any hiccups with the permits, and we were able to get everything hashed out. This past year, we had probably 400 people there that came out throughout the full course of the event. I think we had 65 people walk. Like Dan said, we raised $5,400 for the event that we donated every bit of it back to the One Tribe Foundation to go. And if you look at the great grand scheme of things, if it like Dan's talking about, if it costs him $100 a visit, we donated $5,400. That's 54 officers in the area that could go out to help. So it's stayed true to me because I am a veteran. 22 Kill did save me, but now I am law enforcement. I have been part of this pendulum swing, unfortunately, that is going on in America today. I see the wear and tear on everybody. I see the turmoil that's going on. People just getting out of it because they don't want to deal with it. But we have foundations like you, John and Sam, what you're doing and what Dan does, that there is help there. And even in the little small Mayberry departments like I work in, they are trying to turn the leaf to get back to, hey, we got to take care of our guys. I mean, from range days to training, our chief and everybody from our administration, they're on the ground pushing forward with us. They're standing right next to us.
Yeah.
David, me and Sam always preach, we don't like the knee-jerk reaction that departments take a lot because it's after the fact. Now, you came in with some coping mechanisms already.
Yes.
Do you feel it, right? So you came into law enforcement with some mental health coping mechanisms that you've learned through, One Tribe Foundation. Do you feel those helped you in your law enforcement career in the current narrative that law enforcement's in right now?
Yes. They're one of the coping mechanisms I learned through the One Tribe Foundation. I don't remember the name of the organization that taught it to me. Was I have a problem tree. Basically, I go home. Well, it's a fence now, but I go home, I touch my fence, and as I come through, I try and leave everything from my job there, all the issues there, all the reports, all the stress. I try and leave it there. That way, when I go into my house, I'm trying to be there for my kids and my wife and my family. The next day when I get up, I'll touch it again. I'll pick it back up, and then I continue about my day with what I have to do. That was one of the biggest coping mechanisms for me. The other biggest one was the 22 Kill ring. I mean, I wore it every day. Then Tennessee is very humid, very hot, so my hands swell a lot of times. So that's where I couldn't wear it. So I actually just went and had 22K tattooed on that finger. So even when I was super stressed out and couldn't wear the ring, I still had the reminder. It's just a thing. I mean, keep pushing forward, move past it. Don't let things get you down.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think they make one like silicone rings now, so you don't have to do it.
I'm gonna
just 22K on it. I don't wear a ring on either finger. I got my wife's initial on one ring, and then the 22K on the other finger. Those are the only 2 rings that I wear.
There you go. I love it.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, I'll send them. I'll send you some rubber rings too. But we're gonna send them a care package for this other one. We're gonna help with this next March, and I'm hoping that my wife's looking for an excuse to drive through his town, is what she said, so we can come to his march and be a part of it. But John, it was just like your Heroes March. I mean, did you really think that day that when I came out there, I turned the corner, I was like, holy crap. I mean, it was packed. It was amazing, the turnout.
Last night, Sam, you were there, right? We had like 71 people march. Yeah. It's growing. Some days we'll have over 100 people. Some days we'll have 50 people. Some days we'll have 10 people. But I mean, not even 10. We'll have 20 people. But we started off with 11 people walking the bridge back in 2018, and it has grown. And it is grown to the point now with some of our partners that we are now. I don't know, Dan, if you knew about the park or if you heard about the park that is going to be built on the other side of Heroes Bridge. We started making the bridge, the walk. We got it dedicated and renamed to Heroes Memorial Bridge. And now, first time in the nation, we got a 22.5 acre park, Heroes Bridge Memorial Park, being built on the other side of Lake Ray Hubbard, right at the end of the bridge, that will represent every branch of the service and every part of the first responder field, law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, and corrections and 9/11 dispatchers. Now we'll have a reflection point and some monuments. Then I saw some of the renderings, the 3D renderings this week that were released, and we're going to release them next month. But this will be a place of reflection for all the families. It will be a great healing aspect for them, and it will help smash the stigma in some form, in some way. So,
well, it's somewhere to go. That's the awesome
Yes.
thing. It's somewhere to go that says that, just like the Fort Worth, memorial that's out there, police and fire, is like, people don't realize it till you go what that means to the families, right? And just to let you know, I mean, John, I don't know if you've ever met him, but Paul Mooney, who was a DPS officer, we lost him just last week. And Paul had some stuff he was overcoming, but he got COVID because, that's the other thing, is these officers are exposed to things like that, and it's hard for them to get the services they need. But Paul was in the hospital and lost his battle. And so I do want to, do a shout out for Paul, because what a great supporter of our organization, and helped really get DPS, more involved with us, and grabbed Cindy Sloan and Patrick Timmons, who are the recruiters involved with us. And but what an awesome human being we lost, that was buried this week. But those are the people that no one knows, because it barely makes any TV shows or any articles. I mean, he made it to his local news, but if people only knew, what I mean, what warriors go through. And I think that's what the great thing this show does, and that we all try to do, is educate the community. Because I'm telling you what I always say is, I'm a big proponent of that. I think everybody, you have that soul in your body, and you're looking for somewhere to let it shine, be a part of. And some people, they just don't, they need somebody to steer them to a direction of something positive. But once they get a taste of it, that's that missing piece that they've never had, just like in David's walk and the memorial walk that you did. And what One Tribe Foundation does is, once you fill that gap, you could tell they're in it. The deal is sold, right? And you can count on them to show up and support. I know you said Megan's on. She's a big supporter that shows up to everything. And but that's the thing, is that we need to educate the community more. Like I said, is you don't have to be a patriot to wear a uniform, right? We need more patriots. We need more people that understand freedom has a price, and we need you more involved in these things to just say thank you. That's it. Say thank you to these heroes. They deserve it.
But we need the media. We need the media to jump on board. We need the media to stop looking. Anytime Kim Kardashian has a pimple on her butt, hey, it's breaking news. And it's all over the news, and it's on every single channel. But like you said, we lose an officer due to COVID. We lose an officer due to mental health issues. And maybe you'll get a 15-second clip on a local brand, a local news channel. We have to make our media, our communication process has to help us out, has to get the word out, and see how devastating it is to the families and the friends around them. But all word of mouth is helping. And one day they'll change.
There's no doubt, because it's amazing that I still have people today that just don't. I mean, it's like they're in shock when I tell them how many warriors we lose a day, and they're shocking. And it's like, that's because you only look at the pressures, the things that you're going through your day to day, but who do you call when there's an issue? Who do you call when you get in a car accident? Who's making that call from you and helping you walk through as a dispatcher? Who's helping the fire and the police, the EMS services? And you don't really understand that till you go through that traumatic experience yourself, right? But in that, it takes something like that for some people to understand how important it is, that we need these warriors at 100%. I mean, that's just the end of the day. That's it. And like you said, with the oil change, you cannot keep processing traumatic stuff without cleaning out and getting that off of your shoulders. And there's nothing that beats anything than one-on-one therapy. I mean, at the end of the day, doctors and everything try all these different things, but pills, a lot of these other therapies are just things to pacify what's happening. But getting it off your chest is just the most amazing and relieving thing, is to actually be able to say it, right?
Yeah, and knowing that the person sitting across from you wants to listen is
and
grateful.
Trust, right?
Yes, that is
trust is the number one thing, right?
Exactly.
Trust and confidentiality.
Trust and confidentiality, absolutely. And John, part of what we do in our workshops is we touch on, if you want to call it the buddy check or the checking in aspect. In certain departments, David, it sounds like at yours, you don't work singular. You work, there's two in a car, or you have a very tight knit shift where you are checking in with each other. You are having conversation. You are saying things like, dang, that last call was really effed up, and you're able to get it off your shoulders, talking to people that get it. You said, David, that your chief, that your lieutenant, your assistant chief, they're in the rooms when before you guys go out. That's practically, unheard of. But if you can't keep the pulse on your department, it's like you don't know what needs to be changed. And there's so much of a disconnect that we see across the board with, John, you said it best. I mean, yes, in these huge departments, you never see the chief. You're at your sergeant's level, or maybe you're a lieutenant's level. Even in the small departments, we still have that departments that have that separation, or it's a chief or assistant chief that comes from, I'll call it, they've been on 30, 40 years, the salty ones, who all they ever were taught was suck it up. So that's all they teach. And David, can you just tell everybody and expand on the importance of checking in with each other?
Yes, Sam, I will. Dan just brought up that you don't know about a traumatic incident unless you've ever lived one. One of the classes I went to in becoming a peer support counselor was the average civilian that's not a veteran or that's not a law enforcement officer may go through 1 to 3 traumatic incidences in their lifetime. And if you look at the average expectancy of a person today, some people are living 75, 80, 85, 90 years old, and they may go 1 to 3 incidents in their whole lifetime. So you bring a veteran around or a law enforcement officer who's working 8, 10, 12-hour shifts, they may go through 1 to 3 traumatic incidences in one shift. So then we're finding out these guys they're not having time to process. So if you look at like the DABDA, the depression, the anger, the bargaining, the denial, the acceptance, like the grief, the 5 steps of grieving process, these guys aren't actually doing it. So they may deny it at first and then they may skip to anger, but then bam, there's another traumatic incident. So now they're right back in this loop. So we're finding out that law enforcement guys and veteran guys are getting put into this continual perpetuating cycle of a traumatic incident. They may process 1 or 2 things of it and then bam, another traumatic incident. So anytime we have a traumatic incident, in my department anyways, and it doesn't always work like this. There has been times where it hasn't worked, but for the most part, we as a shift, on the shift that I am on, we are very close. We're very tight knit. We may joke about something. We may have some humor, some dark humor, just to get the hard things out there. And then we'll all decompress from there. Or we may talk with our chief, or we may all go out as a department over and play some dominoes or play spades or have a drink. But at the end of the day, we're having that brotherhood where we're able to, on our own terms, decompress the things that we're seeing and things that's going on. I look at other departments and some of the shifts aren't like that. They're very onesie-twosie individually based officers. And those are the ones that are falling by the wayside. Those are the ones that are unfortunately making just stupid decisions out on the road because they have so much stress, so much stuff going on. They're making either very unsafe officer safety decisions, or they're just just lashing out to some random person in the public that basically they're catching a butt whooping that wasn't even meant for them because they have all this bottled up stress. They don't know what to do with it. Every Tuesday, our chief comes in, and he comes in plain clothes. Him and the assistant chief, they'll clean the entire department. They'll sweep the floors. They'll mop the floors. They let everybody in the department know that they are not above anything else that's going on. If I have to go in, if I want to say, hey, chief, can I talk to you? He'll close the door. He'll close his laptop. He'll give me his undivided attention. And if I wanted to call him by his first name, I can, just so that there's no rank, there's nothing else in the room. But I mean, I don't feel the need to do that. I feel like I can address him as chief, or I can address him as assistant chief, or I can address him as lieutenant, and still get the same respect back, that they're not going to berate me as a leadership type standpoint. I had some great leaders when I was in the military. When I was with 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines, I had probably one of the best leaders that I've ever worked for that taught me some of the cope mechanisms. And this goes back to what Dan's talking about with the Run Tribe Foundation. To this day, I'm out, and there's about 6 of us that are out, but there's still about 10 of us that meet yearly. We keep that tribe together. We talk consistently. We talk almost daily, if not weekly. If I call him today as like a father figure or a mentor, because he's lived a lot harder of a life I have, even though he's not law enforcement, he would still be able to, hey, mentor me into, I need to check my attitude, or maybe I should start more, maybe I should be more approachable, or I should reach out as a person more, or remind me, hey, that badge, you got to take it off at the end of the day. You need to be a person. You need to talk to people. And I feel like that's my big advantage when it comes to law enforcement is I may have a little more patience than some people have. I may be able to talk somebody down when other people weren't, just because of some of the cope mechanisms I've learned through the One Tribe Foundation. I've learned through mentorship, and I've learned through leadership.
David, let me ask you a question. I just want to rewind.
John, we got a question coming in on the feed. So first, John, to you, Tony, sending you love. David, we've got Tammy saying that she's so proud of you. James is 3-6 brothers. I guess that's a shift thing. I don't know. And then Maria asks a great question. We've got just a few minutes left. Are there any plans for you guys to reach out to the smaller rural areas? So David getting other departments involved for you, and then Dan in terms of Texas, going deeper. So David, any plans?
I'm just an FTO, but I do know that my chief works very big with some of the other chiefs in the department or in the general area. He is very well known. So anything that's working well for our department, he is not shy about passing that along to other departments to try and make it work. And overall, as a whole, I'm surrounded by about 6 different departments to include Metro Davidson. We all work together. If something's working great for one department, they are very good at pushing stuff out to other departments to try and make that work, even on the mental health standpoint.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Dan,
so
how deep are we going to go in Texas? We need the help.
We're going to keep going. Yeah, so we have a satellite office in Denton right now, but the thing is of course, we have the telehealth that's really taken off. So you can see one of our counselors, through the phone. But the larger that we're going to get, the more we're going to start these little satellite offices branching out. We're going to take on Texas, but we get from the telehealth side people all over the U.S. Asking for help through telehealth. So we're going to keep growing. Me being chairman of the board, I'm going to make sure that we make the right decisions, though, financially. I mean, the good decision of me as a tribe rat-holing money helped during COVID because, there wasn't a way to have events. And if it wasn't for that, we were good stewards of the money that's donated to us. There was a lot of charities that rolled up in 2020 through the COVID side of it, but we stayed strong just because of being good stewards of the money that we're given. But yes, we are going to expand and we're going to push out. Okay, great. And so if people are looking for help, please remember it's okay not to be okay. Reach out for help. It's the number 1, tribefoundation.org. I have to have that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's what it is. So it's scrolling across the bottom of our screen.
And you can still go to www.22kill.com. It'll take you to the same place.
Awesome. So every show when we wrap up, we always ask our guests to send a message to all of our first responders who are listening out there. Dan, what is your message?
Well, my message is, first of all, I love you guys, and I think we need more love in this country and love and support each other. But listen, there's a lot of ways to get help, but make sure the first and foremost is we need you at 100%, right? And we need you and your family too at 100%. So always reach out, find somebody, find a buddy, somebody you love, get your support, because we love you. We need you at 100%.
Awesome.
Amen.
David?
I'd say caveat what Dan said. I love each and every first responder out there. Big thing for me is don't make irrelevant people relevant. If even with the pendulum swing we have going right now, where it may seem like not everybody cares about you or not everybody wants to be with you, that largely you'll find that most people are supporting police. Most people are supporting first responders. If you need help, reach out and, make the call, raise your hand and say, hey, I need help, and we'll get you help.
That is fantastic. I love that. Don't make irrelevant people relevant. So I just put that out there on the feed. That's a writer downer, taker homer in the brain.
And you typed it fast and you spelt it right. Nice.
I did. I actually almost.
You didn't let John do that.
No. I am a keyboard nightmare.
He would have put "I like cookies." That's all he would have put.
Or I love dogs.
Yeah, that's it. I love dogs. Yeah,
Right.
Dogs are great.
Yep.
Coming in right now, Brian Fletcher. David, he met you on the walk, and he wants to know, will it be at the same place next year?
That's kind of a toss-up right now. Luke Frost with Bulldogs Bar has been there from the beginning with me, but I'm starting to learn that if we don't do something to make it more family-friendly, whether it's with Bulldogs or we go to a different venue, then we're going to lose a large portion of the people that may be the police officers or first responders or the veterans of tomorrow. So I'm going to have to do some soul searching to figure out what's going on with that. I honestly don't know. I am going to have to figure out what's going on family-friendly, or we do run the risk of losing a big portion of the community just solely because it's being at a bar. But I have been in talk with the owner of the bar, as well as talks with the owner of a couple other venues. We may come together as a community and figure something out.
Awesome.
So
Creative minds. Great minds.
Keep us informed. We can push it out, David.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let us know when it is. Yes. And you guys need to come out and join us at Heroes Memorial Bridge. September, we'll be doing the groundbreaking. We'll get you the details for the park for sure. And we thank you so much for Dan and David for coming on, for telling us about your personal experiences. David, Jamie Meadows says, I love you. And, David, thank you for just opening up, letting us know. Keep up the fantastic work in your department and beyond. Kudos to your chief for putting mental wellness, up here, not below the paper clips, which it goes in most departments. And Dan Lombardo, One Tribe Foundation. We love our partnership with you. Continued success. Congratulations. And just keep doing what you're doing, making the impact.
Oh, we froze again. You froze, Sam.
That's fine. I know where she was headed.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
I'll just let you know, Dan.
I wish we weren't pushing so many people your way. We are living in the times that we're living in, and but thank you for everything that you do for all of us. Truly,
it's only getting better. We're only going to support more things and create more programs. So thank you guys for having me on. I love this show. I love what you guys are getting out. We need more shows like this, like I said.
All right, we'll be in touch.
Dave.
See you, David. I'll talk to you. We talk and text all the time. So
there you go. We'll be in touch, guys. Thanks so much.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Take care. Two wonderful guys. I applaud David's vulnerability. and being able to open. That's not an easy thing to do. That takes a lot of courage. That's a scary thing to do. He took that first step, and I'm glad he got the support through his department to back him and help others.
Yeah, and it is about working together. We all have a huge mission to support first responders, to support law enforcement community, to support families of our first responders in law enforcement. And we can't do it by ourselves. Like you heard from Dan, they have $1 million overhead with all of the physicians on staff. At a Badge of Honor, they are part of our network to let everybody out there know that you are not alone, that it is okay to ask for help, and we will get you connected. So whether you're here in the DFW and One Tribe Foundation, is the place where you can get to, or whether you're in Utah and we can get you to another partner. Right. And at the Chateau, this is about helping folks out wherever you are. We've got your back, and we couldn't do the show without all of you watching and all your great comments and listening each week. Hey, if you'd love to support the show, visit abadgeofhonor.com. On the top of the screen, you'll see donate/Mad Radio. Every penny counts. And whether you're listening on Facebook or YouTube, thank you for helping us grow and get the word out to more people. And if you are on Facebook, if you wouldn't mind, jump on over to our YouTube page. That's go to youtube.com, search Mad Radio Texas. That's Mad Radio Texas. Follow us there. We've got a magic number of 200 that we're trying to get to, so we can do some really cool things.
Only 198 more guys to go.
right. Not that far, but we're getting there. But we do need help with that, with the YouTube. And if you are part of our YouTube family, jump on over to the Facebook.com. You can search. I gotta say that the Facebook.com. Upward has a little magnifying glass in that search bar. Put Mad Radio. You'll see a picture of John and I. Click on that and like us, and you'll get. You can sign up for notifications as well. And a Badge of Honor. We just got completed a great workshop. We're moving into looking what we can do for summer, but we've got fall planned. Coming up in Garland, Texas. So stay on the radar, visit badgeofhonor.com. And again, we just thank you so much for everything, for joining us each week. To all of the first responders out there, we are praying for you every single day. Know that we appreciate all that you do for keeping us safe right here at home. And to all the veterans and all of our military that are still fighting the good fight overseas, thank you for what you do, for your service, because it's what allows me and John to continue to do this show. John, take us home.
I'm gonna end the show this week with David's quote of "Don't make irrelevant people relevant."
Amen.
God bless.
Till next week, everybody. Stay safe.